Hello. This is going to be another episode of the series Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Elena Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled Every Moment is So Precious. It's time to act like it, just not know it, and not just know it. And so before I even start with this week's episode, I'm going to start off by introducing myself if this is the first time that you are watching this series, and also share with you what was it that motivated me? What is it that got me to start this series to begin with? So once again, my name is Orlando Martinez, and I'm a self-discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, purpose is not to be limited to just a calling. And why is that? Because you could be living your calling and still not be living your most purposeful life. And this is because a purposeful life also consists of you enjoying greater levels of mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and why not even financial well-being, because every part of you in your life matters. And I wanted to start this series because Mondays tends to be that day of the week where there are some that say, oh my God, I got to do this. I got to go back to work. Oh Lord. And so they're feeling frustrated. They're feeling anxious. They're not looking forward to the week. And if that is you, let that be your sign that something needs to change in your life. That is your sign for something to change in your life, okay? Because you're not designed to be feeling frustrated, to be feeling anxious, to not look forward to everything that you have to do throughout the week. And it is my desire with this series that you look forward to Mondays, because you know that every Monday you're going to be filled up with goodness. You're going to be filling your mind up with goodness, your soul with goodness. And it is also my desire that this series, this time that you spend watching this, gets you closer and closer to your truth. And why is it important that you know your truth and that you're living your truth? Because the more you know, understand, and live your truth, the more you're gonna feel filled up from within, because you're living authentically according to who you really are. So many times we tend to rely on something outside of us, or a goal, or us reaching this, or us reaching that, instead of us really living our truth on a daily basis, because that's where your fulfillment is going to come from. It's not going to come from something outside of you. It's going to come from within, okay? And also, it is my desire that the series lifts your level of consciousness. And why is it important that you're always lifting your level of consciousness? Because your level of consciousness dictates what resonates with you, how much you're able to get, how much you're able to see, how much you're able to seize the opportunity. When you notice that two people are receiving the same type of information, but yet one person is more successful than the other, I can guarantee you that the person that was successful, they were in a different level of consciousness. They saw themselves differently. They were able to see something the other person didn't see. They were able to see and seize the opportunity that the other person didn't seize and didn't see. Okay? Just like when you're looking at the outside from the first floor, things look big, right? The cars look big, people look big, right? The buildings look huge. But if you go to a 10th floor, right? The buildings don't look so tall. The cars don't look so big. People start looking miniature, right? The same thing is going to happen when you lift your level of consciousness. You start seeing things differently. What was once big is now a little smaller, right? What was small to you starts having a bigger meaning for you. This is why you elevating your level of consciousness is so important. And so this week's episode, once again, is entitled Every Moment is So Precious. It's time to act like it, not just know it. And today's the anniversary of September 11th, when the Twin Towers fell here in New York City. And I'm pretty sure probably you remember where you were when that happened. I know that I certainly remember, because I was in Manhattan, and it was such a depressing day here in New York City. And I never thought back then that I would someday be a part of the aviation industry as a flight attendant. And I look back at the recording of the phone call of that one passenger, and I can only imagine, and not even imagine, everything that the passengers were experiencing, but also the crew. And the helplessness that the flight attendants and the pilots must have experienced to know that they couldn't do anything to avoid what was the unavoidable. And let me say this. Yesterday, I came back from Milan and I was kind of scared on landing because I had experienced something that I had never experienced in my 16 years in the airline industry. And that is when once we were about to land and the wheels were down, all of a sudden I could hear a weird noise on the engine and the plane was forcing itself up. And I could feel a forced like takeoff, right? And I was wondering, okay, what the heck is going on? And my colleagues right across from me, they were fine. They were like, oh, we're just going up. I'm like, we're going up. How the hell are we going up? We're supposed to be landing, right? And you can feel, and the plane was shaking a lot because it was very bad weather here in New York City. And the pilots tried to land again for the second time and they couldn't. And so they tried a third time. And the third time we were successful. Once we landed and the pilots were able to open the cockpit door, they explained to us that we were this close to landing in Washington, D.C. If the third time they weren't able to land, and that was because they couldn't see the runway. And so if they're unable to see the runway, it's just best to force themselves up because you want to make sure you're landing on the runway and not on a water, not on God knows what, right? And I'm not going to lie to you. I was fearful because I had never experienced something like that in my 16 years in the airline industry. And so I didn't know what to expect. I didn't understand what was going on at first because they didn't tell us right away what was going on because they were busy trying to get everything, situated, right? And I was scared. And it was something like that, let alone something even bigger where you know that that's it. You're not gonna survive that, right? And so with this week's episode, I want to give you a reminder that every moment matters. And not just know it, but actually act like it, right? I think that we know when that life is precious, right? And we don't need to wait until we hear of these stories like 9/11 or we reach the anniversary of 9/11. It's important to act like it, right? And I want to share with you what are some things that you can do so that you can seize every moment, so that you can take advantage and make every moment a precious one and appreciate it, right? So, how can you act like you appreciate every moment? Number one, know what matters most to you and act on it, right? When you don't know what matters most to you, you're either going to be wasting your time or you're going to be spending your time rather than investing your time. Money is not the only thing that you invest. You also invest your time. Time actually is your biggest resource. It's not money. We think it's money, but it's actually time, right? Because time, once it's gone, it's gone. It doesn't come back. But but money, that's what I meant to say. Money, you could always make it again, but not time. Okay. So it's important that you know when you're wanting to make the most out of your time, right? Know what do you value, right? What makes you feel like something is worth doing? Are you taking action on those things? Are you taking time for those that matter? This is also very important, right? We sometimes get so caught up in the doing and the doing, the doing. I got to do this, I got to do that. I got to reach this goal, I got to do that. But are you spending time with the people that matters most to you? Are you doing work that feels meaningful to you? You spend most of your time at work, right? So it's best to choose wisely even when it comes to work, right? That you choose work that you enjoy. And if you believe that work is not meant for you to enjoy, you better check your belief system, right? And this is so important because your belief system becomes your lifestyle. It becomes the choices that you make. Think about it. Based on how you believe, that's the decision that you make. Those are the choices that you make. That's the way you behave. Okay? Life was not designed for you to hate what you do. It was not designed for that, all right? So if you think the opposite, then it's time for you to check your belief system. So if you don't know what matters most to you and you do not act on it, you won't do things that make you feel like you're making the most out of every moment. This is why this matters. When you know what matters most to you and you act on it, you have purpose throughout your day. This translates to direction. Purpose gives you direction, okay? You're more intentional with everything that you do. The second way to make the most out of your time is to manage your emotions. This is so important. And what managing your emotion is, it is you feeling your emotions, you process it, and you act accordingly, right? One of the biggest mistakes that I see people make is that when they feel the emotions that are very uncomfortable, whether that is frustration, anger, anxiety, they just want to push it to the side. Oh, no, because this is not convenient. This doesn't feel good. And that's an error on your part. That's an error on your part. Emotions were not meant for you to ignore them, for you to push them underneath the rug, for you to act like they don't exist. They have a purpose. And emotions, they're there for you to process it, almost like the digestion system, right? When you put anything in your mouth, your body digests it. It takes the nutrients that it needs and throws away all of that it doesn't need, right? It makes good use of what you put in your body. You must make good use of the emotions that you are feeling. That means that you feel it, you're processing it, you take the information that it has for you, you throw away whatever it doesn't serve you, and then you use the message that it has for you and you put it to good use. That's how you process your emotions and manage your emotions accordingly. Emotions are not there for you to ignore them, all right? For you to act like they don't exist. However, what you do not want to do with certain emotions is dwell on them. If those emotions, by you dwelling on them, they're going to cause more harm to you. That's the one thing you don't want to do, is dwell on them. You want to process it, not dwell on it, okay? The reason why I say that manage your emotions as part of you enjoying every moment is because when you do not know how to manage your emotions will end up managing you. They will end up managing you. And that means that if you feel discouraged, you're not going to take any action, right? When you feel sad, you will let yourself go. Oh, I'm going to self-abandon because I feel very sad, right? When you feel jet lagged the way I do right now, right? Because I just came back yesterday from Milan, then you will break your commitments that you make to yourself. This is just an example that I'm utilizing just to show you that when you don't know how to manage your emotions, those emotions are going to manage you. And the reason why I add jet lag in the emotion that I feel jet lag, it's a body sensation, which also affects your mood, which also affects your productivity level, right? So this is why I'm adding that. There will always be a reason for why you can't do something, for why you can't have something, for why you can't be something when you do not know how to manage your emotions. There will always be a reason. I feel frustrated. I feel unmotivated. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. So you gotta know how to manage your emotions, okay? Disappointments are a reality of life. Sadness are a reality of life. Lack of motivation is a reality of life. Rejection is a reality of life. And if you haven't seen prior videos of me, if you're new to my work, the reason why I say rejection in quotation marks is because there's no such thing as rejection. Rejection is a blessing. Rejection is a protection. Like I said in the TED Talk last year, it's a protection, right? The universe knows, God knows why that person was not the right person for you, why that opportunity was not the right opportunity for you, why that job, you weren't meant to have that job. You just never know. And so there's no such thing as rejection, okay? Frustration is a part of reality, or is a reality of life, better yet to say. Frustration is a reality of life, not part of reality. I'm going to correct that. It's a reality of life. But they do not have to take over your life, okay? They don't have to take control over your life. You have control over it, okay? Every emotion that you feel is information from your true essence, which is your soul, okay? Emotions provide you with information. It provides direction, right? It could be a stepping stone. It doesn't have to be an obstacle. When an emotion becomes an obstacle that doesn't allow you to function properly, you are not managing your emotions. That's a sign that you're not managing your emotions, right? It's a sign that you're not in touch with yourself. You're ignoring the purpose of that emotion, okay? So for example, let's say that you're so frustrated that it's making it so difficult for you to go to work. And if you go to work, you're just expressing your frustration or you're showing your frustration. You're so miserable that people are noticing it. The frustration is taking over because most likely you have ignored it for so long that it has become loud. Emotions that get ignored, they get louder, right? They get stronger. When I say louder, I mean they get stronger, they get more intense. You cannot avoid feeling what you're feeling. Just like a child. If you ignore a child, haven't you noticed they start screaming louder and louder? They get more and more annoying, right? It's because it's trying to get your attention. So the reason why that emotion is getting louder is because it's wanting your attention. Most likely you're not doing what your soul actually wants you to do, right? Because when you're doing what it is that you really want, you'll be experiencing a deep level of happiness, okay? So it's important that you learn how to manage your emotions. And I already explained earlier what I mean with managing your emotions. The third way to make the most out of every moment is to cultivate a growth mindset. That's the third one, okay? And a growth mindset is about you thriving on challenges. This is why this matters more than you can possibly imagine, okay? So how do you cultivate a growth mindset? Number one, start having beliefs that allows you to bounce right back up from difficulties, right? And this that I just shared is a topic all on its own, so I'm not gonna get into it, all right? I can talk about it in another occasion, but start having beliefs that allows you to bounce right back up from difficulties. Number two, speak in a way that allows you to bounce right back up from difficulties. This is very important, right? Number three, take action based on this mindset, right? Because by you taking action, this just solidifies even more that mindset. It gets solidified in your being. That's the reason why you want to be taking action. It's not about, oh, well, let me talk to myself a certain way. No, you want to take action because that's going to make you say, okay, yeah, I am stronger. I can do this, right? Number four, seek your own approval. Don't seek other people's approval. People with a growth mindset, they're not looking unto others to see what it is that they're going to say. Because if you listen to others, you're going to be limited by that other person's mentality, by that other person's belief, right? By how that other person thinks. Okay. And then number five, seek support to cultivate a growth mindset. Seek that support. None of us grow on our own. So hire that mentor, hire that coach. Get the layers that aren't allowing you to see yourself with clarity, to see your life with clarity. Get the work that you need done, right? And the reason why I added a growth mindset to the enjoying every moment of your life is because people with a growth mindset, they do not allow challenges to set them back. They do not allow a bad period in their life to become a year or a decade, okay? The fourth way for you to make the most out of every moment is to be picky about who you spend time with. Yes, be picky. This is so important. This is so important because you become who you surround yourself by. You just become that. Okay. I want to say this. This Saturday I was in Milan and I spent time with an Italian family. And I didn't sleep much. I really didn't sleep much in during that trip, but I felt so filled up. I felt so filled up. I felt so energized after spending time with them. So much so that in the evening, I even did a video that I posted on Instagram and Facebook, right? The people in your life are either sucking the energy out of you or they're giving you energy. You must choose wisely, okay? You're meant to feel great most of the time. Okay. And a part of what makes you feel great is that energy exchange that you have with people. This is why this matters more than you can possibly imagine. Okay. So be picky when it comes to this, because the people around you influence your mindset. They influence how you live. They influence how you feel. They influence how you see yourself and how you see the world. This is so important. Okay. The fifth way to make the most out of every moment is by being mindful of who you're being and be the best being that you can be. Okay. I want you to remember this: what you do, who you are being, how you take care of yourself, you reaching your goals is not just about you. There are other people that are being impacted as well. Others are impacted by what you do. Okay. That's how important you are. If you have this belief that the only way you're going to be important is if you have a certain job, let me tell you this: if you have a job and you're working for someone else, you're not really the owner of your time. You're not really the owner of the money that you're making. So let's just get that clear. So if you think that your value comes from a certain job that you have, let's clear all that up. Let's clear all that up. Okay, your value as a person, the importance that you have, is not because of your job. It's not because of how much money you make. It's not even because of how famous you are. You are important just by you being who you are. There's someone else that is impacted by who you are. Okay, so choose to be a loving person. What you give is what you get back. Okay, and choose to be loving regardless of what you receive. Okay. And when you are loving towards others, that does so much good to you too. Now, there's an exception that I want to make when it comes to being loving regardless of what you receive. Being loving regardless of what you receive does not mean that you allow mistreatment. It does not mean that you're going to keep contacting a person, or you're going to keep texting a person, or you're going to try a friendship or try something with someone that clearly isn't showing you that they appreciate you, that they value you, that they care about you. Absolutely not. When it comes to your personal space, you have to be mindful of who you select, of who you are being loving towards, of who you are giving your heart, your energy to, who you allow space in your mind and your heart. This is very important. So that means that if you're reaching out to someone and that person doesn't make an effort to reach out to you, and they're clearly ignoring you, you are not going to be, oh, well, let me be a loving person. Let me reach out to this person and let me be this, when they're clearly showing you what you mean in their life. Okay? You do not want someone occupying space in your heart and mind if you're not occupying space in their heart and mind. Okay? That is called self-love. That is called self-love, okay? If someone takes 3 weeks or so to reply back, guess what that person means to you? Nothing. That person should mean nothing to you if that's the case. That is called self-love. You're not going to be, oh, let me be loving. Yes, you're being loving by distancing yourself. By distancing yourself, okay? And when someone does something like that to you, they're either taking so long or they're telling you, oh, I'm so busy. By the way, people that care about you, they will never be too busy to reach out to you. I want you to remember that. If anybody tells you I am too busy and they keep ignoring you, they're telling you what you mean for them, which means the universe is telling you what they should mean to you. Okay? So when those things happen, thank the universe. Thank the universe, because now you know what category to put that person in your life. So you don't need to waste any more of your energy and your time with that person. That is not a reflection of your value as a person. So don't take it that way. And if you take it that way, then it's time for inner work, okay? Because that is just a signal to keep it moving, okay? Again, people that truly love you, Even though they're busy, they're going to make time for you. So please remember that. Don't listen to these BS excuses that sometimes we listen to people say or text or whatnot. Okay. So the sixth way to make the most out of your time, every moment, is to align what you do with your desires. Okay. The more you do this, the more in alignment you will feel. This is so important. So, if possible, do work that allows you to reach what it is that you desire in your life, right? That way, work won't feel like work. Have rituals around your desires. Very important, right? Go to places that remind you of the things that you desire, that makes you feel close to your desire. This is going to make you feel like those desires that you have are real, right? And so it is my desire that this week's series gives you an idea, gives you concrete things for you to do so that you can take advantage of every moment of your time, because these are ways. These are ways, okay? And if you are ready to work on yourself, to work on if you have low self-esteem, if you have lack of self-trust, if you have lack of confidence, because let me tell you this, if you have lack of self-trust, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-esteem, those things are also going to prevent you from taking advantage of every moment, from enjoying every moment in your life. If you're ready for that, you're ready for greater clarity, then schedule that clarity call with me, right? I'm always putting that link. You can reach out to me and we're going to schedule that call for you. And in that call, we're going to go over where you are now, where you would like to be, what is needed to close that gap, and how I'm able to help you. You don't need to be in lack of clarity. You don't need to be frustrated. You don't need to be anxious, right? Gift yourself the opportunity to have someone there that is all ears to you, that creates this safe space for you to create whatever it is that you desire to create. So with this said, it is my desire that you live life to the max and that you take all this in, that you live life to the max the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.